Hey, we're apparently live.
Yes, we're live.
We're live. This is my brain.
I would say the outside because you can't really see.
You can't really see my brain.
Yeah.
So by us having dialogue and discussing different topics, we are in fact showing my brain.
Bits and pieces of it.
And you're the earwig that has crawled in today.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Tony Bradley, for joining me, buddy.
Man.
I'm Jeremy Gibbs, if you didn't know by the tag on. So, anyways, disclaimer as always.
Yes.
A lot of people have seen me do church stuff, and I don't want to offend anybody, but this is all of me, not just the church aspects. So you may hear some cuss words, and we're going to talk about everything from Jesus on out.
Yep.
So, a plethora of different topics. So, right now, we just wanted to do a short. I think Nate's going to keep us on a time frame.
He's got the countdown.
We were thinking like a half an hour. We're just going to sit and wrap real quick. What are we talking about right now? What are we talking about?
Well, we got to finish the disclaimer. So.
Oh, yeah. I think can they see it behind us, Nate? Is it in frame? Yeah. Okay. So, which way I got to lean? I got to lean that way?
Yep. Just like that. Point over your shoulder.
Okay. Notice. Yeah. We say things like, well, you can read it. Why don't you read it?
Well, I mean, this place is politically incorrect. We say Merry Christmas, one nation under God. We salute our flag and give thanks to our troops. If this offends you, bye-bye. See you later.
See ya. Bye-bye. The word up there is leave. So if you don't like that stuff, and many more things, if you're religious and you don't like cuss words now and then, sorry, you might want to bounce on that because we don't go out of our way to cuss, but we don't go out of our way to not cuss. We just speak as we feel the flow of speech coming forth, and if shit comes out, then it comes out. You know.
Yeah, we're not using it as status quo vernacular.
Exactly. So I just want to give that disclaimer for those people that may be tuning in, especially the church channel, that they, the church channel. I mean, my HFTC Heartland Fellowship Training Center channel.
You need Jesus.
You need Jesus. Anyways, just this little brief snippet, and we'll see what we're talking about today. Before we get into the big discussion at 8 o'clock when we go live.
Yep.
And so this is just a snippet, and you're probably watching this after we've already gone live. Unless we really, really like it, and I decide that we want to just upload it.
Yeah.
I may do that.
That would be cool.
I may do that.
Maybe we'll
see.
Time.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. If we just do a quick one. So, what's our discussion right now, buddy?
Well, I mean, I think talking a little bit more about you and how you got to this spot of why doing the podcasting stuff, of why, what makes your brain so much different than everybody else's? I mean, obviously I know because I've got 16 years of history with you.
Yeah.
And if there's never a lull in the conversation.
Well, the question is in the title. This is my brain.
Right.
This is, and I could have titled it, "This is my mind," or "This is my heart," or anything like that. But I was going for that theme where they had the frying pan with the egg in it, and that's you'll hear the outro talking about the egg and everybody disagreeing with me.
Right.
But the idea is that I've for so long have taught. I've been in and out of church pretty much my whole life. I've taught in church since I remember teaching when I was 15 or 16.
Wow, that long.
Yeah. And then, I've done a youth pastor stint, and then I had my own congregation. And so I've done a ton of stuff. And of course, you're always presenting a certain side of yourself.
Right.
Not being false in any way, but you have to self-censor to a certain extent because there are people that just can't handle it.
Right.
And so that's an aspect where I've gotten to the point in life where I'm like, I'm tired of self-censoring to that extent. If I walk into an environment with a whole bunch of little kids, of course I'm going to self-censor myself with my vernacular. I'm going to be more conscious of cuss words and things like that. If I walk into a church, we were doing a church install the other day for a couple of screens for them and doing some audio video stuff for them. And of course, I'm censoring myself with the general public, but with the people that know me there,
right? I
just talked. I didn't go out of my way to cuss, and I didn't go out of my way not to cuss. I just, I said, hey, yeah, we're gonna get all this shit put up, and then we're gonna do this over here, and then,
So it's more a form of etiquette and tact, as opposed to those people that you are a little more comfortable with in seeing all of you, as opposed to, well, that's Apostle Gibbs. He's right with Jesus.
I drank my water wrong. Yeah. And that's a big aspect of it is
right.
People build up personas.
Oh yeah, it's
and
ridiculous.
I hate personas. I hate them, dude. It's like, and I don't think that I really built up a persona. I was always me, but I was me narrowed into this subject matter. It's me talking about church and Jesus and relationship and everything like that. And I still want to talk about all of that.
Right.
But I also have always been, you and I can sit here. You want to quote some movies? You want to go back and forth and do movie quotes? I mean, we talk to each other in movie quotes all day long. Well, I don't generally do that a lot on TV or on my previous stuff doing church stuff.
Right.
Now, a lot of people heard me, quote Yoda and things like that, but they don't. It's like I have so many different things in my mind that I have gathered over the years that I want to talk about politics. I want to talk about guns.
Yeah.
I want to talk about all of these other things that are important to me that I feel very strongly about. I mean, if you look, I don't think we have a camera on it, do we? Is there no camera angle for the back wall? Does your camera angle cover that back wall, Nate, or this one? Does it cover the? Can you get that in your overhead? Okay, so people can see it a little bit. But I put that up the other day. I've had those printed out for a year now.
Right.
Those are, what's the number over there? 24. The 24 that group put together, 24 logical fallacies.
Right.
Straw man and slippery slope and all it. And so those are going to be some of the things I want to talk about. We're going to take one of those logical fallacies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to discuss them and say, here's an example.
Right.
Of what people do with these logical fallacies and appeal to authority. Well, if the doctor says so, and you go, yeah. So there's a lot of things I restricted myself from talking about over the years, just because I'm teaching you about Jesus. I'm teaching you about faith. I'm teaching you about things in church.
Right.
And those are, I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not in any way backtracking from that, but that's this area of my life.
Right.
I mean, Jesus cares about if I want to get in here with a couple of my buddies that I have and we talk about pickup trucks.
Right.
And how you do some mods to them and do stuff that's true too.
Of course.
And you've known me for 16 years plus. Yeah. Have we never, I don't think there's ever been a time that we haven't had a discussion, no matter what it was, that moved in and out of talking about Jesus. Talking about relationship, talking about life.
Absolutely.
So it's like I really had to come to a place where I'm like, I want to continue to do the stuff that I'm doing that's church-wise, but at the same time, I want to be able to say there's more to me than just that platform person.
Right.
And most people know that. I mean, you've been to relationship studies with me and you've been with, but I'm like, dude, I want to talk. There isn't really a subject. I look at it this way. I've had friends in the past that go, well, I'm not really interested in that.
Cool.
Okay, cool. Don't be interested in that.
Right.
When I get around people, people that I become part of me, and so as they become part of me, you guys use the word tribe a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I like that, but then I also have a stigma on that because you're using it as the group of people that are around you, and it's your family.
Yeah.
And so whether we use the term family or tribe or your circle,
right,
whatever you're using, the only reason I don't always like tribe,
right,
is because of the tribalism that people can get into, where they can get cliquey and you're not part of our tribe. You guys don't do that. So when you use it, it's beautiful, and I'm proud to be part of the tribe.
Well, yeah, with everybody. It's all inclusive. I mean, that's the thing.
But you know what I'm saying is there's other groups out there that are like, are you part of the tribe? And then you're like,
where are my colors, man?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
yeah. So anyways, it's that aspects of when I get to know people and they become part of my life.
Yeah.
I go not heavily out of my way, but I definitely make an effort to educate myself on what they like.
And not to put too fine of a point on that, but there's been several people that I that are friends of mine or family or tribe or whatever. And
I like tribe. Use tribe. I'm
right.
just saying that other people.
Right.
Yeah.
But I've brought them down here, and believers and non-believers alike, it's really irrelevant. I've introduced them to you, and you had a conversation with them,
right?
And it's funny because after the fact, I'm like, "Yo, he's a pastor, right?" And they're like, "What?" He's so well-rounded, and he's not an arrogant, asshole about religious stuff, and thou shall. And it's like, whoa. I'm like, and it was so funny because. Who was it? I think it was Cindy. Mm-hmm. She was like, I did a shot of tequila with a pastor. I'm going to hell. And I'm going, did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
She's like, well, yeah. I'm like, you were shooting pool with another pastor. I was not.
Yeah, you
no.
were. Yes, you
were. But I mean, that's the thing. It's one small asset of who you are.
Right.
And there's so much more to that. And I've always hated that stigma that, pastors, apostles, teachers, evangelists, all those people of you're only this person.
Right.
In every environment. When, it's okay, what about the fact that you're a dad? What about the fact that you're, a fellow musician? What about the fact that, you're a fellow...
I have all these guys at hockey that still call me preach.
Right.
Okay. And I have a beer with them after hockey. Now,
right.
I don't have the same beer. They bring me beer that I actually like to drink. Some Reds.
Right.
I'm myself. Mm-hmm. So if we cuss in the locker room or we poke at each other and say an off-color joke or something, not too off-color, but you know what I'm saying. But either way, most of them still call me preach. They know who I am.
Right.
And here's the biggest thing. When I got 3 or 4 guys.
Right.
One guy was dealing with his wife's dad was passing away.
Right.
Grabbed me. Can you pray?
Right.
We went out in the hallway, away from everybody else in the locker room.
Right.
And I prayed over him. I took another guy. His wife was dealing with cancer.
Right.
And he says, "Hey, can you pray with me?" I took him outside, pray with him. And there's been other guys. There was one guy that got hurt. I mean, he was laid out on the ice.
Right.
And I raced over and everybody parted their way so that I could pray for him. And they knew.
Right.
And that's the thing that matters to me the most is not, they're like, and I had a couple of them, they're like, "Oh, preach cusses?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I cuss." I'm like, "What's," and they go, and they begin to understand it's not necessarily that what separates me from them is not the cussing.
Right.
It's not the conversations, even though you try to be honorable in your conversations.
Of course.
But what separates you is at the end of the day, you have a spiritual connection with your creator. And that's what they're like, man, when the chips are down, I'm going to call that dude.
It's true intimacy.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I don't know how many times we've laughed, cried, blood, sweat, tears, hugged each other.
Right.
When, we loved each other, we hated each other. All of that stuff.
Right.
We're brothers in arms, man.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy how so many people go, well, he's bald. I don't know. I mean, I had a bad experience with a bald guy once. And it's like, wait, what?
It always cracked me up because the places that we get invited to and go to, and then there's the stigmas, we just blow them away.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, oh, you're a normal person.
Right.
And that's the thing is, I can walk into any environment. The church that we were at was with a pastor friend of mine. She's an African-American lady. She's a black lady. Whatever the term is to be politically, it doesn't care.
Right.
I give her a hug and she gives me a hug and we love each other. I get tired of labels too. But either way, this is my platform to share what's on my heart and in my mind, and to deal with that stuff. It's the stuff on the wall behind me.
Yeah.
That's my brain. There's stuff over here that you guys can't see. I just go through and decorate. And talking about Bill's going to be out soon. Our friend Bill, and he'll be part of the podcast.
So much, man.
Bill's awesome.
Yeah.
I could have given, 2 shits for NASCAR.
Right.
I met Bill, and he started describing
oh, yeah.
the pit crews and what they have to do and all the stuff. And I'm like, I just thought they was turning left, and he starts going through strategies, and I don't know if that's in the shot over top of Nate's head, but I have Bill's team hood from when he owned a racing team in the lower level of ARCA, or lower level of NASCAR. It was the ARCA series at the time.
Yeah.
He had a race team.
Right.
And almost signed Brad Keselowski at one point. He's a Michigan guy.
Right.
But I have his hood here waiting for him to come back. And but my point is that NASCAR didn't mean anything to me.
Right.
But it meant something to him. And because it meant something to him,
right,
I educated myself. Mm-hmm. And then I got to the point where I was like, dude, are you watching the race today? I'll put it on. Because we had a theater room at the other house.
Yep.
And so I do the same thing.
Yep.
With that's what I'm saying is people get into my life and I go, I can check that out. Now there's some things where you go, that's cool. Glad you're into it.
That's not my thing.
That's not my thing, you know. But at the same time, I'm going to at least educate myself to a certain extent so that I can appreciate that person's appetites and activities. What do you like to do?
Right.
Well,
I know over the course of the years we've talked a lot about doing just this.
Yeah.
And I took the plunge a little sooner than you did, but it was a lot of that conceptualizing and getting, okay, what is it that I actually want to do with this?
Absolutely.
Our premise for the show that I do is, don't make this weird. Real people have.
That's the premise?
Well, no.
That's
the premise
that's
is
the title.
That's the title of the show. But the premise is, real people having real conversations with real people.
Absolutely.
And, we've had pastors on. I mean, you've been on the show. We've had, local mom and pop business owners. We've had bands.
Yeah.
Comedians, entertainers.
Absolutely.
Directors, writers, people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
And every single one of those people went, can I come back on the show? This was awesome.
Absolutely.
Like, you guys are real salt of the earth people.
Right.
And, sometimes it's dick and fart jokes, and other times it's like, hey, are you okay?
Exactly. Yeah.
Can we go grab a beer after the show, or have you ate? Do you need to grab a shower and do some load of laundry? Do you need a place to crash for the night?
Right.
And it's one of those things that I've seen so many trends in the social media stuff.
Yeah.
And going, why is this a trend? I don't understand why that's a
I don't
trend.
get this. Yeah.
But yet, more often than not, seeing a bunch of the trends in social media where you have that real connection, that real intimacy with other people going, you're not alone. You're not struggling by yourself. Yes, you're going through this, but you're not by yourself going through this. And more people are like, well, wow, I guess I'm not alone because that's a dumpster fire that you're going through.
Exactly.
And you're reaching out to me and going, you want to go grab a beer and share the shit show?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where real people are.
Right.
It's always amazing to me. It's like, you walk into church and, they say whatever they need to say. You feel bad. You go to the altar, and then they expect you to be perfect the next week.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Either if it's a hardcore type of church, they expect you to be perfect the next week. So they've just if that person tries to conform to that, then they are becoming the best hypocrite they possibly can.
Right.
If it's not that type of church and it's one of those seeker sensitive type of places,
of course,
then they really don't care. Hi, everybody. They don't really care if you're. It's not your birthday.
Congratulations on your first episode.
We got that shot.
Is that in the shot, Nate?
He's now.
You gotta get a picture of the top of it.
It's pink with butterflies. That's awesome.
That's.
Dude, why you go?
It's the safe space.
We're literally recording, buddy.
Butterflies, and it's gender neutral.
Happy birthday,
Do
Tony.
you got a sledgehammer? Because
Happy birthday.
you're good, bud.
Go back over there with Grandma. Thank you, guys. That's awesome.
Dust cake for
Dust
the world
cake
premiere.
For the world premiere. Well, and that's the thing is having those discussions, and the funny thing that I always saw with people was how much people are. There you go, buddy. There we go. Yeah. I'm trying to finish a thought. Now I'm all distracted.
I know.
Yeah. There we go.
Make it looking better.
Look at you. Wow. Okay.
I got 2 bottles.
So my thought, or my observation over the years was how much people were, when you say pastor, just like you said about Cindy. Is it Cindy?
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you say that,
Yeah.
what are you doing over there? We're literally recording. Stop it. Waiting.
And I'm done.
Oh, okay. But like Cindy, right? She says, "Oh, that was a pastor." There's this automatic stigma.
Right.
We're supposed to be the people that are the most inviting and the most accepting and the most endearing, the ones that are
welcome on all levels.
Exactly. Let's sit down and have a conversation. Let's do this.
But you got to put your best foot forward.
And what happens?
Your Sunday best.
Yeah, but then what happens is these people end up being, the clergy end up being so high and lofty, that it's like, really, dude?
They're taking
sit down and let's have a beer. I've had so many times to do that opportunity, and I'll disarm people to where they're all, you're a pastor, and I go, yeah, I'm a fucking pastor. Let's sit down and talk. And they go, what?
Well, and I think that whole above reproach passage, most people don't truly understand the definition of what it means to be above reproach. Right. It doesn't mean that you're above anybody else.
No.
It doesn't mean that. Because
it's all crap, dude.
Right,
it's all garbage.
Right, and yet, us doing what we've done over the course of the years through the industry of music and so on and so forth, we're some of the, I think, some of the most humble, approachable people that do this stuff.
Absolutely.
Of going, hey, you want to hang out?
Yeah.
I mean, you and I have a huge history of you down on your luck, you homeless, cool, come stay with me for a minute.
Right.
And it's nothing. And people, what do you know this person? No, they lived under a viaduct for a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, having that approachability and then, going off of facts and opinions of stuff that you hold true to you for your own personal convictions without a label or a tag.
And that's the funny thing about labels and tags. When the Lord told me to start a church, like 11 years ago, Heartland Fellowship, He says, I'm calling you to be an apostle.
Right.
I'd been known I was a prophet since I was 17.
Right.
And both of those words are,
Yeah, taboo.
How many of the church doesn't even accept prophets and apostles right now? And then if they do, where's your, where's your schooling? Where's your degree? Where's your thing? And I go, I don't know. I ask Elijah where his schooling and degree was. Ask, these other prophets throughout Scripture where their degrees came from and where they were called by God.
Right.
And so, anyways, when the Lord said, I'm elevating your calling to apostle, I fought it for like 2 years.
I was going to say, how long did you fight it for?
I fought it for, I'd be like, just call me Jeremy. And the Lord was like, and he explained to me about, really taught me about titles. He's like, look, when you use your title to be over people, you're using it wrong. Right. Obviously, that's the wrong way to do it. But when you use your title so that people know how to approach you, well, then that's the exact use of it.
Right.
And I went, oh, and he took me through, so many scriptures where he's like, Jesus got after everybody. He's like, why you call me Lord, Lord, and don't do what I say? If you're going to call me Lord, if you're going to address me with that title, then that has an inherent approach to it, which if you call me Lord, then I'm in charge.
Right.
Right? So when we start using titles like that, it's like, dude, if they know that you're the guitarist of the band, then, or the leader of the band, right? It's not you're going, oh, I'm over the band and I'm better than the band. You're like, no.
We're all equal.
We're all equal.
Right.
But there has to be somebody in charge. I mean, have you ever seen a two-headed snake or a two-headed cow? It's a freak. Well, I'm going to say it's a freak. it's abnormal. It's not normal to have two heads. There's one head. And so
Right.
in any organization, you have to have leadership. Now, there's delegated leadership and there's levels, but there's leadership.
Right. 5 minutes.
Okay. Very good. And then we're going to eat a little dinner and then we're going to actually go live.
Yes.
But so when we look at titles and stuff like that, that's easy
Right.
to understand when you're coming at it from the right perspective. And I fought it for a couple years.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, if you don't acknowledge your title, and when people ask you what your title is, you don't just walk around and go, I'm an apostle.
Right.
You know, but when they go, I go, I'm an apostle. They
Right.
go, oh, pastor. And I go, actually, it's apostle. And they go, whoa. And I've had 1,000 times is where they go, oh. And I go, listen, a teacher teaches.
Right.
A pastor shepherds and feeds.
And protects.
And protects. Well, that's what I meant by shepherd.
Right.
They protect and feed.
Right.
Evangelists gather people in. Mm-hmm. Prophets announce or proclaim visions and callings and
Right.
different things. They make the announcements. And apostles are the ones, literally the word apostolos from the Greek means to be sent forth. They're the ones who organize all of that.
Yeah.
Who keep that all together. And in fact, then Paul deals a lot with foundations.
Right.
So he's talking about how the apostles lay the foundation.
Right.
And so when you come at it from that, so I'm very foundationally oriented.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
teach all of the time, what's the root word here? What are we getting back to? What's
Right.
the core of this? And even with counseling with people, I go, what's the core? What are we dealing with?
Right.
So it's dealing from those aspects. So if I don't use my title properly,
Right.
but again, it's not the only hat I wear.
Right.
I'm a musician. I'm a singer. I'm a singer before I'm a musician. You've known that. What's my line that I've used
What?
since they go, oh, you play bass? Oh, you play piano? Oh, you play guitar? And I go, yeah, because nobody else is there to do it for me.
Right.
If somebody else did it for me,
I would sing.
I would just sing. So yeah, when I actually pull off a really nice bass line, I go, getting pretty good at this.
Happy learned how to push.
So anyway, so this is just a little short one.
Yeah.
Obviously impromptu. Everybody's getting ready for the new set, the live broadcast tonight.
Yep.
But we wanted to get on here and just do a quick recording. We're kind of doing this as a test as well to see how well everything is coming through in the system, so that we can make any adjustments. But this is my brain, and we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. And some of the stuff, is going to be, people aren't going to like it.
Right.
Some people,
Yeah.
but
Whatever.
I don't care.
Right.
I want people to.
What is the
I
name
want
of
to
the show?
share my brain.
What is the name of the show again?
This is my brain.
Whose brain?
My brain.
Your brain.
Yeah. At one time, I thought about calling it "This Is Your Brain" because the commercial was "This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs," and I kept meditating. I'm like, Lord, I don't like that. This is my brain.
Right.
He's like, yeah, it's your brain. I'm like, because I could talk about all sorts of stuff and say,
Right.
This is what happens when your brain's on hypocrisy and stupidity. And
Right.
I'm like, no, I'm sharing my heart. I'm sharing what's going on with me. So there's going to be times when we jump on here and I just go, dude, this is what I'm thinking about. Actually, most of the time. I mean, there'll be times when we prepare stuff, obviously, but we've been thinking about that for a couple weeks. And then there's going to be time where we just go, I'm jumping on and just starting to talk about what I want to talk about.
Right.
We'll see how the show goes tonight. I think I know we're going to have a blast.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to see, how everything plays out.
Yep.
This will be our first official, live streaming, because you and I recorded some stuff.
Yep. Hopefully we can salvage the audio.
Well, on that one, yes, but we also have the 3 episodes we did already on music.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I want to get those out.
Those were incredible conversations.
Absolutely. And yeah, we're hoping the 3 hours we spent last night in conversation, the audio didn't get wiped out, but
Right.
That's why we're sitting down again and having conversations. And if it did, there was 3 or 4 people that were here that thoroughly enjoyed the conversation.
Absolutely.
And if everybody else gets cheated out of that, maybe it's just for them.
Right.
So we live and learn and love it. So Tony, you're going to probably be my main co-host in my brain, because you've been in my brain for a while.
Yeah, it was 16 years.
Yeah, about 16 years. And so
we are going to go through and take a break right now.
Yep.
And grab some grub.
Yep.
And get ready to go live. So this is not my brain. This is
my brain.
This is my brain.
And I thank you for coming into my brain. I'm Jeremy Scott Gibbs, and this is my brother in so many ways, Tony Bradley. And we'll be seeing everybody at 8 o'clock. And if we don't post this beforehand, then you'll have watched this. You have to watch this later.
Right. Extra content.
Extra content. And so with that, Nate, you want to hit the outro, and we will be outro.
My egg is my brain.
It's still an egg.
Can I at least have some bacon, maybe some sausage with that egg, though?
Oh, I want some bacon.
I don't know, man. I'm not good at this shit.
I want crepes.
Okay.
Can I have some bacon and pancakes with that egg?
I'll take it with scrambled eggs and cheese.